We are going to use a strap, so have that available, and a bolster for sure. Okay, I'm gonna turn the music off. Share with you our Dharma talk for today. Today's my mom's birthday. Not that you know my mom, but I know yesterday was a full moon / lunar eclipse. Same day as election day, yay, right? Because the eclipses always bring about sudden changes, and the eclipses always shine light on things that are hidden or obscured or revealing more truths. And the full moon is all about highlighting something that we need to realize and recognize inside of our own psyche, what we're holding within our own hearts. And it's a really good time to do a lot of deep reflection, a lot of introspective work. The energy with the full moon can be heightened. It can be the time of the month where there's more car accidents, there's more hospital visits. You know, we were just talking about lunatic comes from the root word luna. Luna means moon, right? So it can get a little crazy around this time. So I'm glad you're here, because yoga helps us to center. And yoga is going to help us to find our inner calm so that we can handle all the stuff that's happening on the outside. If we have it together on the inside, we're not as reactive. We're not as compulsive. We're not as emotionally charged. And if we're not emotionally charged, we're going to be less divided. When we're calm and centered, we're more inclusive, and we can bring about that feeling of unity, not only internally between our mind, body, spirit, but we'll be able to hopefully find, you know, what was it last week? We were talking about the middle road, the middle road with everyone. Okay, enough of that. Today's subject matter is about free will and free choice. And that's important for us as Americans, right? This whole nation was based on freedom. So in yoga, if you study the yogic philosophy that's been around for thousands of years, when you read the Yoga Sutras, it's a book of psychology. And when you read that book of psychology, you know, that we put into a spiritual practice, I always tell people in teacher training, the best spiritual practice you can do is get your mind right, to get your mind stable, to stay in that state of calm centeredness so that you're making good decisions and good choices. So that's what yoga helps us to do. That's the big yoga. We're still going to move our body. When we start to move our body, it's like shaking up a snow globe, right? Things get stirred up and then they can get flushed out. And so the idea is, let's let go of the stress. Let's let go of the tension. Let's let go of the worry. Let go of all the drama. So we can just be here now and present with our breath. So with this idea of free will, free choice, know that you have free will and free choice even here on the mat. Just because I'm instructing you to do something doesn't mean you have to do it. If it hurts, please don't do it. Be monitoring your own self throughout the practice. I'm going to read to you another way to look at the yamas and the niyamas. The yamas and the niyamas is the core philosophy of yoga. It starts off ahimsa, do no harm. Satya, be honest and practice integrity, do not lie. Then it goes on to aparigraha, learn to let go. Don't be a hoarder, don't be greedy. You know, and the list goes on, and we often say the Sanskrit term and the do not, right? I'm going to say it a completely different way today. It's a way that's more easily receivable and digestible. And the reason why we focus on this is to develop self-discipline and self-control. If we put these principles into practice, we're going to be happier, and we're going to be healthier. If we're doing this with other people, practicing self-discipline and self-control, then we're not going to be creating any excess harm. We're not going to produce any suffering. The idea is to reduce the suffering. At the very end of the Yoga Sutras, the whole goal of yoga is not to be able to do the splits. It's not to be able to stand on your head, even though those are fun things to do. In fact, the book doesn't talk about physical asanas at all, other than to sit in meditation. The true goal is finding your own freedom, your inner freedom, and of course the outer freedom to choose what you want to choose for your life. All right, so let's begin. We're going to start on our backs. Now I'm going to stay sitting, but I will show you this really quick. You're going to take the arms overhead and you're going to sprawl the legs out into a star shape position. Now, I'm suggesting that star shape position, but Lily and I were coming in this morning talking about how sore Monday's class got our inner thighs. So if you're starting to fan the feet out and you come to that edge of my inner thighs, then just pause. You don't have to go any deeper. If you're taking your arms out to the sides, notice how it broadens your chest, it broadens the collarbones. And if you're taking the arms up overhead, you can find that it lengthens your back. But if your hands don't touch the floor, then you really should slide them back down, shoulder height or lower. So check in with your body. See what works for you. And so we're starting out here lounging in this pose that's going to make us feel more expanded and more open. Take up space. So often we belittle ourselves and we don't want to take up much space. This is your opportunity. Take some deep breaths in and out through your nose. Notice the belly and chest rising as your lungs inflate. And notice the chest and belly sinking as the lungs deflate. Continue to allow the breath to pour in and out. So I'm going to read to you a way to look at the yamas and the niyamas in a different light. Remembering this philosophy is about self-discipline and self-control. The first one is to be kind and compassionate. The second principle, stay true to yourself. The third, practice generosity. The fourth, use your energy wisely. And the fifth, try not to hoard, but instead adopt the attitude that less is more. And the second set, taking care of yourself and the environment. Choosing how you are going to respond. Cultivating and developing discipline and how to use your inner fire. Constantly studying yourself to truly know thyself. And the final piece is trusting in the higher power. On your next in-breath, open up your eyes and sail your left leg and right arm up towards the ceiling, maybe even tapping the foot. Don't worry if it doesn't reach. And then exhale, lower back down. You're creating that X shape with your limbs. Then inhale, lifting your right leg, left arm up. And then exhale, release back to the floor. So you're just mindfully moving side to side with alternate limbs, going at a nice, slow, controlled pace. Feeling the stretch in your hamstrings as the leg lifts. Strengthening the hip as the leg lifts up and down. Continue to alter back and forth between the two. And then if you want to amp it up, if you're feeling the need for a little core work, you can lift your head up as you cross over to one leg. That way you're working the abdominal muscles and adding in some strength here. Now, when you're engaging your core properly, that should be lifting the head and the neck naturally. If you feel strain in the neck, it means you're not engaging your core properly. And then gently release. Slide your feet closer together and now find your strap, unroll it. Bringing your right knee in towards your belly. Taking the strap around the ball of the foot, right above the arch. Flying the foot overhead and holding the ends of the strap. So go ahead and begin to lift your hands as close to the foot as you can, so your arms are fairly straight. That'll give you a good grip on the strap. Put a little additional flexion in your ankle by pumping your heel skyward, drawing your toes downward. And this is Padangusthasana A. Now we're holding it here, and you can determine, this is where the free will and free choice comes into play. Check in with your back. You may need the opposite leg that you're holding to be bent. You'll feel a deeper stretch if you straighten it out. So it just depends on what you're feeling sensation-wise. There is no right or wrong, good or bad. It both works. Now, if you're holding your right leg up, you're going to take both ends into the strap with your right hand and lower the leg to the right. If you have your left leg up, you're going to take both ends of the strap into your left hand and then open it away from your body. Padangusthasana B. So those of you that may have joined us on Monday, we did a moon salutation mixed with sun salutation elements. And it really required a lot of hip work and inner thigh work. Yeah. On your next in-breath, let's go ahead and build the leg back up. And then exhale, bend the knee, remove the strap. Now carry the other leg skyward. Bending the knee so that you can wrap the strap around the sole of the foot. Extending it overhead. Sliding the hands closer to the foot, but keeping your shoulder blades nestled on the floor. And then here you can determine, is it better for your back to keep the other knee bent? Or do you want to develop a deeper stretch by elongating the leg down the lane of your mat? Flexing through the ankles. Pushing the foot into that fabric. And maintaining a deep yogic breath. So in Chinese medicine, the main meridian that travels in the back of the body correlates back to the urinary bladder meridian,
And when we open the leg away from the midline, there's going to be 3 meridians there for the liver, kidney, and spleen. So now take both ends of the strap into your hand and begin to abduct the leg away from your midline. Remember, the leg should be hovering above the floor. Your free hand can hold down the opposite hip because you don't want to tip the pelvis. You want your pelvis to be grounded, to stay neutral. Good, one more deep breath. Inhale, sail it back overhead. Exhale, bend the knee. Remove the strap. Step the strap to the side. Cross your left ankle over the right knee. Pick up your right foot. This may be plenty, but if you want to place your hands behind your right thigh, you can hug it in towards your chest. Now, this is where you want to apply that principle. Sometimes less is more. Because if you're pulling in so much that your buttocks is curling up away from the floor, you need to let go a little bit with your grip. Let the sacrum stay anchored. This opens up the external rotator of the hip. You'll feel it activate some of the glute muscles. We tend to hold stress and unprocessed emotions, dealing with relationships, finances, and work in the hips. So yes, we're gaining something physically, but we're also gaining in other areas as well. Let's take one more deep breath, eye the needle pose. And then exhale, release. Now, take the right foot to the floor and stack the left ankle over the right knee. Same position, second side. Pick up your right foot. That could be enough. If it's not, grab your thigh and gently pull it in. Breathing here. So remember, whenever you're doing these physical asanas, if your breath ever gets caught, restrained, trapped, held, it's a sign that you may be doing too much physically, or your focus might be elsewhere. Develop the discipline of breathing well while you're here. Good, exhale, release, and uncross that ankle. And so I want you guys to turn to your side body, but Mike, Susan, and Trisha, you're gonna turn to your left side, and everyone on this side of the room is gonna turn to your right side. Okay, so we're not gonna worry about left or right now. I just want everyone to be able to see what's happening. So I want you to check in with your head and neck. Is it okay to rest on your arm, or is it better to lift your head up into your hand? That's the first thing I want you to determine. And then bend your knees and stack the knees. Okay, we're gonna work on clam pose. This free hand at top, you're gonna place it in front of your chest just to help with balance. And then on your in breath, you're gonna lift the top knee. Again, that's the external rotation of the hip. And then exhale, close the clam. Very simple. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Good, 3 more. Inhale, open. Exhale, release. And twice more. Try to sync it up with your breath. All right, we're gonna amp it up a little bit. So you may need to use this hand that I said will help with balance. You can push into the hip on the floor and into that hand on the floor to lift the bottom leg up. And then you're gonna hover the other leg. Okay, if that's too much for your back or core, lower the bottom leg and just hover the top leg. All right, so hover both or one. All right, inhale, same thing, open the clam and release. Open on the in breath, release on the out breath. Good, continue, 3 more. This is just a way to advance it a little bit and to increase that sensation if it was too simple for you. Okay, now lower gently down and straighten out your legs. Now, I would suggest if you already feel kind of tipsy on your side body, being in this one straight edge line, you can slide your feet forward for better balance, okay? We're gonna bring that top knee in towards the shoulder, and then we're gonna spread the toes, push the foot up in the air. Good, and then exhale, lower and hover the leg above the other one. Good, draw the knee in. Inhale, press up. Exhale, take it down. Good, continue, draw it in. Lift it up. And lower and hover. Good, again, bringing it in. Lifting the leg. And exhale, sink and hover. Hover and hold. One more, draw it in, lift it up. This time we're gonna hold it. And this is where the balance can get a little iffy, but we're gonna see if we can use that hand that was helping us to balance to maybe hold the thigh, the calf, potentially the foot. See what's available. Don't strive too much, and please don't strain anything, because we're meant to be practicing with kindness and compassion, honoring what's available, and honoring the limitations that we discover. That's being a true yogi. This is Anatasana. All right, exhale, release. All right, now, if you want to come up and turn your body so that you're still facing each other, that's okay. We'll do the same sequence here. So again, either laying the head on the arm or propping up the head. Knees bent at first, easy clam first. Inhale, lift the top knee. Exhale, descend it down. We're just doing a set of 5. But remember, it's not just a mechanic with your body. We're inhaling with one action and exhaling with another action. Good, now let's hover. Maybe hovering both legs or just the top. Opening the hip on the inhale, turning the thigh down on the exhale. If this is an area where you need to gain strength, I will say the slower you go, the more strength you build. Good, now release that work, slide the legs out. And again, you want to try to attempt to be in one straight line, but if you need to angle the feet forward for better balance, that's okay. All right, draw that top knee in towards the shoulder and then flex the foot and press it up to the ceiling. And then exhale, lower it down and hover the leg. And then continue, knee draws in. Foot presses up, and then the leg lowers. And just continue that sequence. Is this okay for your knees? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. All right, this next one, I want you to hold at the top. Maybe using your hand to hold the back of the leg somewhere, some way. And moving right back into your breath. Anatasana. Affirming here, left and right and all around. Life's harmonies are mine. Exhale, release the left. So if your head's at the back of the mat, spin around so that your head's at the front of the mat. Those of you that are already facing the front of the mat, you can turn to the belly, to the front of your thighs, stacking onto Sphinx arms. And then we're gonna lift and lengthen the leg bones back behind us. Pointing your toes to the back of the mat, rooting the elbows down, palms down, and then really growing up through the breastbone and through the crown of the head. So the more the legs lengthen back, you're gonna tone the legs, you're gonna squeeze and firm up the buttocks as you press into the pubic bone. That's the primary foundation. The arms are the secondary foundation. You're strengthening your back, bringing prana to the heart, and looking out with the eyes. So remember, there's an old Asian parable that says you're only as young and healthy as your back. And in yoga, we take the spine in 6 directions. We do back bending, we do forward folding, we do side bending, and we do twist. All right, as you exhale, roll down to the brow and slide your hands up underneath your shoulders. Keep your elbows clipped in towards your side ribs and inhale, rise to Bhujangasana. This requires a little bit more effort, right? But we can use the assistance of our arms to help. Now breathe. And then affirm, I rise joyfully to greet each and every new opportunity. Exhale, gently lower down to the chest. You're going to slide your left hand out to the side. And once your left arm is out, you're going to lower to your left ear. You're going to push away from your right hand, lifting the right foot and standing on the big toe behind your left leg. So this is a twist that's called broken wing. If your left shoulder does not allow for this movement, you can leave it out and just work the hip. But we opened the clam already to be able to work with the lower body here. Twists are so good for the endocrine system, the digestive system. Can even help our lymphatic system. We're opening up that connective tissue where the arm attaches to the torso. Deep belly breaths. And then exhale, roll back to your stomach. Slide your right arm out, your left hand in, turn to your right ear, pick up the left foot. Stand on the big toe behind the right leg. Broken. But anytime you're opening the shoulders, we're in essence also opening the chest. More importantly, we're gaining access to the metaphysical or spiritual heart, not just the organs. Anchor yourself here with your breath. And then exhale, remove that back foot, roll back to the side. All right, we're gonna get up to stand at this point, and I don't know how to instruct you guys that can't be on your knees other than come up through plank or to roll up like this. Okay, so whoever's gonna come up through table or plank eventually land in downward facing dog, where you're inverted and creating the shape of a teepee. Your palms, your feet are the foundation, but we're trying to lift as high as we can through our seat, which may mean bending the knees, depending on the hamstrings. So allow your hips to soar up, up, up and away, and let your head bow between the arms. Look at the direction of the feet or the space in between. Remembering the eyes open and inversions help us to look at things differently. It's meant to help to open up our perception, our perspective, to have a broader mindset. All right, gently begin to walk the feet forward to the top of the mat. Once the feet come to the top of the mat, stay long through your legs, bow forward with your upper body, coming into Uttanasana. You're standing forward fold. Your arms can just hang like a rag doll. It's really not about touching the toes, so please don't bounce. Let your low back decompress. Let the blood flow come down to replenish the face, to reboot the mind. And then nod your head yes. Yes, for keeping calm, no matter the results, okay, guys? It's been a rough few years. It's not worth it. United we stand, divided we fall. Inhale, press down to the feet, sweep the arms to the sides and up overhead. Lace your hands together at the top. Create a mudra here where the forefingers are together and the thumbs lace. Exhale, curve to the right, creating Chandrasana crescent moon. Getting a side bending. So my brother-in-law works in a factory. He's like a supervisor, right? He doesn't exercise. He doesn't get a lot of sunlight. He's in really poor health right now. He went to the doctor. He has tons of arthritis in his back. And you know what they're telling him? Go to physical therapy. Start strengthening your core. Start strengthening your back, right? Inhale, come up to the top. Exhale, curve to the left. And then they're wanting to put him on meds, anti-inflammatory meds, pain meds. And I'm like, just stop eating dairy, just stop eating sugar, stop drinking caffeine. Those are inflammatory. Do the exercises, and remember the spine goes in 6 directions. He probably won't listen, but inhale, come back to the top. And then exhale, release the arms down. Find your strap. You're gonna take the strap, fold it in half, and you're gonna hold it shoulder distance apart like this. Look down at your feet. Make sure the toes point ahead. The ankles, knees, hips are aligned. And then slowly sail the arms up overhead. Holding the strap. Now bring the strap just behind your head and your neck. Always think of a relay race here, even though I never really did those. You know, where they pass the baton and the other one takes off running, or whatever they hold. So just imagine you're trying to pass the strap towards someone behind you. And there's gonna be perhaps some vibration because we hold a lot of tension in the trapezius zone around the shoulders. This is one of the areas in the body where quivering is okay. And then inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, bring the arms down. Hold the strap the same way, but this time behind your back. Let your shoulders crank back and your forearms lift up. All right, so those of you who feel above me, I would just stay here. I wouldn't double over unless you feel like you really want to try it. But the rest of us, keep the shoulder work, bend the knees, push your hips back, And maybe fold over your thighs, bow your head, and continue to sail the arms up. Most importantly, breathe. Soften your jaw. Try not to grit your teeth. Now pressurize the feet and slowly come up. And then bring that strap around in front. All right, those of you on this side, you can face here. This side can face here. We're gonna stand with the feet really wide apart. Okay, we're gonna turn the right foot. So everybody turn their right foot. It's okay if you're not mirroring each other. And then you're gonna lift your arms up overhead. Gonna make you work on this pose today. Bend that right knee, stack it right over the ankle, okay? Now make sure your back leg is straight. That thigh's plugged in, right knee's bent. All right, and now we're gonna lean out over the bent knee. So Trish, the other way, yeah. Be cautious here. This is the knee you had surgery on.
This is actually good for it.
It's good to have weight bearing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It'll help to strengthen it. Now, if you really push down to the mound of the big toe, that helps to stabilize and strengthen the knee because of the inner quad. And then inhale, come up. Whew, that's a lot. Straighten the right leg. Now we're gonna keep the right leg straight and we're gonna lean out over the side like triangle. Does require a grip in your feet and a grip in your core, your midsection. Good, inhale, come up. I know this is tough. Lower the arms. Right foot turns in. Left foot's gonna rotate out. Arms lifting up overhead. Good, now exhale, lunge the left knee. Keep that thigh rolling open as you lean out over it. This is gonna fire into those hamstrings. It'll open the hip. Strengthen the knee, strengthen the inner quad. Good, inhale, slowly straighten out. Whew, I'm breaking up a sweat here. Exhale, hinge in your hips. Now the legs are straight, we're moving towards a triangle. Good, inhale, bring it back up. Good, exhale, lower the strap down. Now, turn your feet to be square again. Hands to the hips. Let your shoulders roll back, your elbows lean back. And then lead with your heart as you fold. Now you can stop halfway, or you can lower all the way. Just keep the elbows flying up like little cherub wings. And breathe. And then inhale, slowly come up. All right, that was all the standing I had planned for today. I wanted to get to restorative, I know Wendy really needs it. So turn your foot closer to the mat or closer to the front and then step up. Find your bolster. We're gonna start off in a position. I'm gonna give you a choice for this actually. So those of you that have had knee surgery, you're not gonna wanna do child's pose. So you're gonna do this one. And anybody else that wants to join them, you can also do this. Bolster across the mat. Thighs on top. Belly hanging off. Arms crossed. It's like a passive crocodile pose. If you can handle the flexion in the knees, you're gonna turn the bolster the other way, set it in between your thighs, and you can do child's pose. So you can pick, honoring our theme of free choice and free will, which pose do you want to take? And then close your eyes. Form a relationship with your breath. And as you develop that connection to your breath, recognize on the exhalations, this is the way we can sink and surrender, release, and let go. So if you scan through your body and discover there's one or more muscles wanting to work or activate, mentally tell it to let go. There are benefits even here as you steep in stillness. If you're resting on your brow, remain, because there's an acupressure point there that helps to induce mental peace. However, if you're resting on one cheek, you're going to turn your neck so that you're switching sides to the other cheek. Melt back down, settle back in. Just allow yourself to rest and renew. Let's slide the hands in. Slowly begin to lift away from the front. We're gonna hang on to this bolster. Now I'll show you what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring it between the legs. Once we still to the back, the arms can open up. The knees roll to one side to take us into the spinal twist. If this aggravates your low back, even with the bolster between the legs, you may want the bolster under the legs and the knees stacked. You can play around with that to see which feels better. And then of course, you can close your eyes. Feel okay? A little bit of hope on you. You just look like you. Your next in breath, you can slowly shift the knees over to the opposite side. Feel free to carry the bolster along with you, stacking it between the legs or underneath the knees. Just lounging, relaxing, and breathing. Now, I want you to consider what you would enjoy for your Shavasana. So, for instance, if you wanted to exit the twist and place the bolster under the thighs and knees, you might prefer bringing the soles of the feet together and the knees fan apart. You might even prefer the bolster go under your back for a restorative heart opening pose. Pick one. Give yourself permission to just be. We tend to pride ourselves on being so productive. We're actually called human beings. And science is proving that we need the balance of work and play, of activity and rest. And this is a time set aside at the end of our practice so that we can integrate the benefits, the poses we've been performing. And it also gives us an availability to quiet the mind. So I'm going to give you some quiet time now.
Just simply notice the state of your mind and body. Hopefully you're sensing a little bit more contentment. Be a little bit more serene. But develop a deeper breath. And start opening up some movement in your hands and feet. Eventually drawing the knees in. Rolling away to one side. Coming up to take a seat. Sitting tall and attentive. Close the eyes to stay within. Remembering there's only so much that's in our control. This practice is to help us to develop discipline and self-control. May we all walk away from this practice reaping the reward. May we all operate from a calm center when we depart so that we're less reactive, more responsive, and more responsible with our choices. Placing your hands to go to prayer, let's seal this intention and this practice. The light in me honors and bows to the beautiful light in each of you. Namaste. Namaste. Thanks so much for being here.
My guys will call you tomorrow.
Hopefully it'll work some of it out though.
No, it'll be our shoulders.
We are.
It's a shoulder.
Good job.